I'm Jim Martin, and I'm Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Royal Prestige. I want to welcome you as a Royal Prestige customer and congratulate you on selecting what we feel is truly the finest cooking system that's available today. Sure, it costs more than most pots and pans, but with quality cooking equipment, as with everything you buy, you get pretty much what you pay for. And we're real confident that once you learn how to use this cooking system, you will know that you've gotten your money's worth and a whole lot more. The Royal Prestige cookware was designed and built by the West Bend Company, a giant of the cookware industry. It uses 3 layers of surgical steel with titanium, so it's built to last for a lifetime. Plus, there are layers of carbon steel and copper and silver for efficient, even heating. Royal Prestige and West Bend have invested literally millions of dollars in tooling and machinery to create a cooking system that is both healthy and simple to use. My wife, she loves the ready temp whistles because it keeps her from burning anything, even when she's got all 4 kids competing for her attention at the same time. In this video, I'll be sharing with you some helpful hints that will help you get the most out of using your new health system cookware. When you receive your set, not only should you watch this video, but take a few minutes to read through the helpful hints booklet and the first few pages of the cookbook that accompany the set. This will put you well on your way to having a really enjoyable experience with your new cookware. Before using the set the first time, it's important to wash each piece thoroughly in warm soapy water, to which you've added a 1/4 cup of vinegar. This removes all traces of polishing compounds which may remain from manufacturing. If you don't remove these oils, you can burn and turn the cookware surface brown, and then you have to use some real elbow grease to clean them up again. So don't forget to wash them before using. Okay, well now we're ready to cook. And let's begin by talking about how your new health system can be used to cook the healthiest possible meats for you and for your family. So, throw out the greases and throw out the fats and try pan broiling in your new health system.
Always preheat at medium-high and test with a few drops of water to be sure that the unit is properly heated. The Royal Prestige Health System is ideal for cooking those leaner cuts of steak for a high-protein, low-fat entree to help assure that you're getting enough iron to maintain good health. No grease or fat is used, and initially the steak will stick to the cooking surface. The health system is actually searing the meat and sealing in the juices to reduce shrinkage and save you money on your meat bill. After 5 minutes, the meat loosens and turns easily. Now we cover and cook for just 5 more minutes while they baste in their own juices at medium-low. With the Royal Prestige Health System, in just 10 minutes, you'll serve up the most tender, juicy, delicious steaks that you or your guests have ever eaten. And because you're cooking in a sealed system, there is little or no shrinkage. You'll also love what the Royal Prestige Health System does for pork chops. Once the chops are turned, try adding some barbecue sauce or soy sauce for that little extra flavor. With the self-basting design of the cover, your pork chops will simmer in the sauce as you reduce the heat for the final 5 minutes. The result? Pork chops that are plump and juicy, cooked in their own juices, no grease and no fats, so that they're lower in calories, fat, and cholesterol. Your favorite foods can be good, healthy foods. And of course, everyone's heard the experts say that we should eat more fish. But certainly, fried fish is not the answer. Just wait till you try the 6-minute fish fillets in the Royal Prestige Health System. The skillet was preheated, no grease or oil, and we squeeze on some lemon that will mingle with the natural juices to create a delicious sauté. Cover with the self-basting lid and cook at medium for just 6 minutes. Because these fillets have been cooking in a sealed system, there is no odor of fish throughout the home. But when the cover comes off and the seasoning goes on, your sensory nerves are in for a special treat. These are fish fillets which your children will eat, even if they don't like most fish. And they're certainly a lot healthier than those breaded fried fish sticks.
It looks pretty simple, doesn't it? And with just a little bit of practice, you'll be cooking healthier meats in half the time that you're used to. Now, the question always comes up, well, can I fry foods and deep fry foods in the Royal Prestige Health System? And of course, the answer is yes, but be sure that you are using medium heats and not the big high heats that you're used to, because the copper and the silver and the cast iron are a much more efficient heating system than you're used to using. Now, here's some other tips on pan broiling from a guy who uses this cooking system when I go home to my family at night. When you preheat, make sure the surface is hot enough to make the drops of water beat up and dance. If it's not ready, wait another minute. Proper preheating will assure that your meats will brown nicely and that the juices will be locked in by the searing process. This step is important to help you minimize shrinkage and to help stretch your food balance. Here's another tip. Once you've turned the chicken or the chops or the hamburgers or the fish, you know you're supposed to reduce the heat to low. Well, low on your stove is not necessarily the same as low on my stove. So here's a simple guideline to follow. When you first reduce the heat, the cover will vibrate and allow moisture to escape readily. But after about 2 minutes, the cover should look like this. Just an occasional puff of steam. If there's no steam escaping, then you need to turn the heat up just a little bit. If there's too much steam coming out, you need to turn the heat down a little bit. The real key is just that occasional puff of steam. Another major benefit of the health system cookware is being able to preserve all of the vitamins and minerals as you prepare your vegetables.
Here we've taken green beans and cauliflower, put them side by side because no flavors are interchanged when cooking in the semi-vacuum of the Royal Prestige Health System. When cooking any vegetable in the system, we always add that ounce or two of water to replace the moisture that has been lost from the farm to the grocer's shelf. We never use more than a medium heat, so the kitchen stays cool and comfortable. We open the ready temp valve because this valve signals when the proper cooking temperature is reached. When you hear the whistle, you actually turn the burner off to assure that you're cooking at 180 degrees rather than 212 degrees, where vitamins and minerals are destroyed. When the vegetables are ready, you'll feel the vacuum that has sealed in the goodness. Open the valve to release the vacuum and get ready to serve your family vegetables that are both healthy and delicious. By cooking all your vegetables in the health system, you can be sure that your family will get all the vitamins and minerals and fiber required for a healthy diet. Fruits are also prepared by the minimum moisture method. And look at the way your health system makes applesauce. The apples are cored and sectioned. Those couple of ounces of moisture are added. Then the unit is covered and placed on the stove at a medium heat with the ready temp valve open. These apples will cook in their own juices, and after a few minutes, the whistle signals that the unit has reached 180 degrees. Here, we'll reduce the burner to low, so the apples will continue to cook until they're soft and can be mashed into applesauce. In about 10 more minutes, the apples are ready to come off the stove. We use the solid head masher to press the apples through the holes in the steamer strainer. The applesauce comes out below, and on top, just the peels to be discarded.
So, does that sound simple enough? It is, if you understand a few basic rules. Since we rely on the natural moisture of vegetables, it's important that you have enough vegetables in the unit. At least 2/3 full is a good guideline. Don't try cooking this waterless, because there's not enough moisture present to make the whistle signal, and the food will dry out and stick and burn. Cutting large vegetables into smaller pieces will save you cooking time and allow for better circulation of the natural moisture in the food. And here's one my mom had trouble with. Try to avoid the urge to open the unit and poke around during the cooking process. This breaks the vapor seal and allows heat to escape. If you do check and find the vegetables aren't quite done, recover the unit, open the valve, and turn the stove back to medium until the whistle just begins to signal again. Then close the valve and turn the burner off once more. When you're cooking a block of frozen vegetables, you'll save time by rinsing them first in warm water so that you melt most of the ice. Then cook them as you would fresh vegetables, only shorten the time because they're already partly cooked when you buy them. Once the unit whistles, this broccoli will be ready to eat. If you're cooking on a gas burner instead of electric, that's fine, but you must remember one important difference. When you turn off an electric burner, it stays hot, and when you turn off a gas burner, it gets cool immediately. So when you're cooking vegetables and the ready temp signals, instead of turning the burner off, reduce that gas burner to the tiniest pinpoint flame you can get without it going out, and your vegetables will cook just fine by the waterless method. Well, for dried foods, we do recommend boiling. But the good news is your health system cookware saves time here too, because it boils water so quickly. The whistle signals when the water has come to a boil, and you'll use your new cookware to make perfect rice every time. You can normally reduce the amount of water slightly because you're cooking in a sealed system. Here, we've used just under 4 cups instead of the 4 1/4 cups which is called for. Simmering time is also reduced by about 20%. Many customers ask about cooking eggs or the no cholesterol egg substitutes. These foods, along with others which don't contain natural oils, foods like liver and different kinds of fish, will require a small amount of butter or margarine or cooking oil to prevent them from sticking. If you're interested, however, in keeping fat and calories to a minimum, any of the vegetable oil sprays work very well with your new cookware. Not only do eggs cook beautifully, but that skillet cleans up with just a sponge and warm soapy water. In fact, one of the things you'll like best about your health system is how easy it is to clean. Normally, a sponge and warm soapy water is all it's needed. To avoid water spots, especially if you have hard water with lots of minerals, dry the utensil with a dish towel immediately after washing. For tougher jobs, you'll want to use a plastic pad or one of those scruffy sponges or some other non-metallic pot scrubber. To preserve the cookware's finish, and not to mention your hands, don't ever mess with these guys. Now, people always want to know, what happens if I really burn something in this cookware? So what we did was put on some chicken, crank it up to high, and we just forgot about it for an hour. And here's the results. Now, Mom always said, don't ever put cold water into a hot skillet because it'll warp out of shape, it'll ruin the pan, and that may have been true with Mom's cookware, but Mom didn't have titanium steel. So if you have a tough skillet to clean up, run some water in that skillet, let it sizzle and steam, and most of that burnt food will come loose. Then, wash it with one of those plastic scruffy pads to remove most of the rest of the food, and then use the cleanser that comes packed with the cookware. Sprinkle some cleanser on a dry cookware surface, dampen the paper towel, and clean with a circular motion, and your cookware is clean. To make those tough cleanup jobs even easier, you can add about a ½ inch of water into that skillet, then bring it to a boil on the stovetop for a few minutes and allow it to cool. Now, most of that burned on food will rinse out with just warm soapy water. If there is food residue, or a brown or a bluish heat stain should remain, this is a job for Steel Glow, or Steel Bright, or Cameo, or Barkeeper's Friend, or Zud, or King Clean, or Bonami, or any of those other non-abrasive cleansers that you can buy. Anything without bleach is fine. We'll use a small sample like the one that's packed in your cookware set. We sprinkle the cleanser onto a dry cookware surface, and using a damp paper towel, we buff the surface of the utensil in a circular motion. Then we wash with warm soapy water and rinse, and your cookware is just like new again. The occasional mineral stain or a white deposit in the bottom of your cookware can be removed using the same cleanser by the same method. The more challenging problem when it comes to cleaning up can be the grease stains on the bottom of the cookware, the grease from the burner that gets baked on through repeated use. Here's one that a customer sent back and bet me $20 that I couldn't get clean. Now, if he had just watched this video, he could have done this himself in about 60 seconds, and he'd have saved himself 20 bucks. But notice that I'm using the cleanser on a dry cookware surface with a damp paper towel. And although it does take some work, remember that that grease was cooked on there over a period of several weeks or months. But with a little elbow grease, you can see I've got this utensil looking good as new once again. With just a little extra effort every couple of weeks or so, you can keep your new set of cookware looking new for many, many years. You'll also want to keep your ready temp whistles clean because they function better when they're clean. So, open them up, soak them in the warm soapy water for a bit, and then run some hot tap water through them in order to rinse them. Simple enough? There's no need to ever take a ready temp whistle apart, but if you do, there's a diagram in the cookbook that shows you how to reassemble one. Or you can get this video out, fast forward it to this point, line up the pieces like so, and in no time at all, you'll have your ready temp whistle back in operation. The only other service that you may ever need might be to replace a knob that one of your kids manages to lose or break, and they screw right off and back on again for easy replacement. And we even send you the new one free of charge. Or you might need to take a screwdriver and tighten up the handles, which can occasionally loosen up as heating and cooling cause expansion and contraction. Well, I can't think of anything else you need to know because there's really nothing else that ever goes wrong with this cookware. The only complaint we ever hear, the cookware burned my food. Well, between you and me, our cookware has never burned anybody's food. People burn food. High heat burns food. Running out of moisture can burn food, but the cookware doesn't burn food. So if you're having a problem with burning, let's look at the reason why, and let's take the steps to correct the reason why, and here are the most common reasons. If you're having a problem with your meat burning instead of browning, simply reduce your heat from medium-high down to medium for the preheating process. Or the problem may be that you need to use a little butter or margarine or oil or spray in the case of some meats and fish which don't have enough natural oils themselves. If your problem is with vegetables, if they're scorching before the ready temp signals, well, make sure that your ready temp is clean first of all. If that's not the problem, make sure that your utensil is at least 2/3 full so that there's plenty of moisture in the utensil. And make sure that you've added that ounce or two of water because there's always some moisture lost between the farm and the grocer's shelf. It may also help in the case of larger vegetables to cut them into smaller pieces. And if all else fails, it may just be that your stove's medium needs to be turned down a little bit. If your problem is burning vegetables after your ready temp is whistled, then you've probably forgotten to close the valve and turn the burner off. Once your burner's off, you never have to worry about burning anything. And if you are that occasional person that we hear from who is burning their pasta and their rice and their dried beans because they're trying to cook everything by the waterless method, then we suggest you open up that cookbook and read the part that tells you that there are a couple of things that you just can't cook waterless. Now, just before we put all of this knowledge to work and head into the kitchen to create your first Royal Prestige dinner, we want to take you through a short and very healthy 18-minute chicken dinner for two, and also through a full-blown family meal for 8 people. And through the miracle of videotape, we're going to do this all for you in less than 5 minutes. So pay attention.
We begin by preheating the small skillet at medium-high. When drops of water beat up and dance, the unit is ready to brown the chicken. No grease or oil is added because the health system uses only the natural juices of the chicken during the cooking process. We chose chicken breasts, especially low in fat and cholesterol, yet they will still cook up moist and juicy in the health system. Placing the cover in a slightly cocked position allows the chicken to brown but no grease to spatter. To save both energy and cleanup time, we'll prepare fresh broccoli and frozen mixed vegetables side by side in the 2-quart vegetable unit. Just an ounce of water is all you need to replace the natural moisture that has been lost from the farm to the grocer's shelf. You never boil or steam away nutrients with the Royal Prestige health system. Cover the unit, place it on a medium heat with the ready temp valve open. While we wait for the chicken to brown, we'll cut a large potato into home fry wedges. After about 9 minutes, The chicken is browned on one side and ready to turn. Notice how the Royal Prestige Health System started with no greaser oil, but now is cooking chicken in its own juices. This assures your chicken will be low in both fat and cholesterol. We'll add the potato wedges and make delicious steam fries right in with the chicken. We'll now cover the unit and reduce to low and allow the health system to baste the chicken for the final 9 minutes. The ready temp whistle tells us that the vegetables have reached 180 degrees, so we close the valve and turn that burner to off. In just a few minutes, we're ready to serve a complete dinner high in nutrition but low in calories, fat, and cholesterol. Chicken, potatoes, mixed vegetables, and broccoli cooked and served in less than 18 minutes, proving that fast food doesn't have to be junk food. Watch as a brand new customer prepares a family dinner for 8 in just 60 minutes. She preheats the Dutch oven and places a 3-pound roast into the unit to sear one side, just like we've done with all the meats. After 5 minutes, she turns the roast to sear the other side as well, locking in the juices and reducing shrinkage. The savings on this one roast is more than $1. Over a year's time, you can save hundreds. Now, she adds some onions for extra flavor. Then carrots, which are a rich source of vitamin A and beta-carotene. And then she adds potatoes. She covers the Dutch oven and remembers to turn the heat to medium-low. More than a half hour has elapsed now, and our chef is back to try her hand at broccoli. The cookbook suggests rinsing the broccoli and draining off the excess water as another method of replenishing that little bit of moisture that has been lost from the farm to the kitchen. Our customer has chosen the combination cover for the broccoli so she can try a little trick she learned from the cookbook. You'll see that in a minute. Next, she prepares some frozen peas. The Health System cookbook explains that frozen vegetables are healthier than canned because they haven't been sitting in liquid, having their vitamins and minerals leached out. Just a sprinkle of moisture, and the peas go on the stove also, with the ready temp open and the heat set to medium, as with all vegetables. And in just a few minutes, she hears the ready temp, telling her that the vegetable units have reached the proper temperature. So she closes the valve and turns both vegetable burners off. Into the Dutch oven goes the biscuit dough for individual bread loaves. The dome cover goes over the top. And now for that little trick. To free up extra burners when needed, especially at holiday mealtime, the cookbook says to place the large vegetable unit and the small one on top of the meat Dutch oven, and everything continues to cook because of the heat conducting capacity of this incredible cooking system. And now, an hour has gone by, and an excited first-time chef is anxious to see if her results look like the pictures in the cookbook. The peas are a bright Kelly green, and they've retained their vitamins and minerals with a minimum moisture technique. Now, she goes for the combination unit with the broccoli, one of the vegetables which doctors believe can help prevent certain cancers. She simply inverts the unit, and voila, the broccoli is ready to serve. You'll notice that our chef has added no seasoning, which is okay because all foods have delicious natural flavor when prepared in the Royal Prestige Health System. And now for the Dutch oven. The cover comes off. The individual bread loaves are ready. And that roast that went in at 3 pounds comes out at nearly the same 3 pounds. There is little or no shrinkage when you cook in the health system. And when our chef adds the potatoes and the carrots and the onions and the broccoli with mushrooms and the peas and the individual bread loaves, you've got a meal that you can prepare on your very first try with the Royal Prestige Health System.
Once again, this is Jim Martin. And on behalf of everyone here at Royal Prestige and at the West Bend Cookware Factory, where your health system is made, we want to thank you not only for becoming a customer, but for taking the time to learn how to use this cooking system properly. We know that if you use it properly, you'll be a satisfied customer. We also know that satisfied customers refer their friends who also become customers of our company. And we have gifts for our customers who do that. So we want you to spread the word a little bit. The other thing is, we know that as a satisfied customer, you're going to come back to us when it's time for more high-quality products for your kitchen or for your dining room from Royal Prestige. Products with 50-year warranties and products from a company that considers customers like you our most valuable resource. Thank you once again from Royal Prestige.